Most people see a doctor and imagine a hero, but for Elena, the job is a daily exercise in cognitive dissonance. Behind the steady hands and the clinical mask, there is a mind trained to suppress its own instincts. To be a professional healer is to voluntarily live at the intersection of life's most intense moments. It is a psychology of managed compassion, where a heartbeat is both a miracle and a metric. Today, we decode the doctor's mind and the heavy psychological weight of the white coat. We explore why Elena's brain must filter out pain that would paralyze an ordinary person. Understanding this reveals the hidden cost of caring for others while trying to remain whole. First, let's look at the empathy switch, the brain's defensive compartmentalization. Years of residency have taught Elena to toggle between human connection and technical execution. When she enters the operating room, her brain mutes the emotional distress signals to prioritize precision. This isn't coldness. It is a structural optimization of her neural pathways to prevent empathy overload. If she felt every patient's pain as her own, she wouldn't be able to hold the scalpel steady. But this neural optimization comes with a shadow, the depersonalization of the human body. Elena sometimes catches herself seeing a patient as a case or a procedure rather than a person. The healer's dilemma is how to keep the heart open enough to care, but closed enough to function. Now, let's look at the second pillar, the burden of infallibility and the God complex. For Elena, a single mistake isn't just a typo. It is a permanent change in someone else's life. Society demands that she be perfect, creating a constant pressure that few other professions face. To survive this, many doctors develop an aura of supreme confidence that can border on arrogance. This armor of certainty protects them from the paralyzing fear of being wrong. But when a mistake does happen, the psychological crash is devastating and deeply internal. Elena lives with second victim syndrome, the trauma doctors carry after a negative patient outcome. She remembers the names of those she couldn't save better than those she did. Then there is the desensitization of death, seeing the end of life as a routine event. While others see tragedy, Elena sees a physiological process to be managed, or delayed. This normalization of the extreme creates a profound disconnect between her and the civilian world. She finds it hard to relate to normal problems when she spent the morning fighting for a pulse. Now, let's look at the third layer, compassion fatigue and the erosion of the self. Elena's emotional resources are like a battery that is constantly being drained but rarely recharged. She spends all day pouring her energy into others, leaving nothing for herself or her family. This leads to stoic exhaustion, a state where she feels nothing because she has felt too much. She lives with a duty guilt, feeling that any time spent resting is time she isn't helping. Now, let's explore the physicality of the doctor, the adrenaline habit. Elena's body is addicted to the high-stakes environment of the emergency room. When the shift ends, the quiet of her home feels uncomfortably slow and hauntingly silent. This is post-shift dysregulation, the struggle to downshift the nervous system after a crisis. She often seeks intensity in her personal life just to feel normal again. Now, let's explore the concept of the invisible patient. The doctor herself, Elena is trained to ignore her own hunger, her own fatigue, and her own grief. She has become an expert at diagnosing others while remaining blind to her own burnout. The caretaker's blind spot is the belief that her needs are secondary to the mission. This brings us to the white coat identity, where the job consumes the person. Elena doesn't just do medicine. She is a doctor, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If she takes off the coat, she feels a sense of identity vacuum and loss of purpose. But how does this affect her relationships outside the hospital walls? Elena often finds it difficult to switch off the diagnostic mindset with her friends. She catches herself analyzing their behavior instead of simply experiencing their company. She is an emotional fixer, trying to apply clinical logic to the messy world of human feelings. This brings us to the miracle of the save, the rare, pure high of victory. Every few weeks, the system works, a life is pulled back from the edge, and the light returns. This is the healer's reward, the deep chemical satisfaction of being useful in the extreme. For those few minutes, the 36-hour shifts and the missed holidays are justified. She is no longer Elena. She is a force of nature, a barrier against the inevitable. These moments are the only reason she continues to endure the emotional grind. Now, let's look at the social psychology of authority and the patient's gaze. When Elena enters a room, patients look at her with a mix of absolute hope and terrifying expectation. She must carry the weight of their world on her shoulders while projecting absolute calm. This is emotional labor, the effort of performing the role of the stalwart guardian. It is a heavy mask to wear, and it eventually begins to reshape the face beneath it. But what happens when Elena becomes the patient herself? Many doctors experience the vulnerability crisis, the inability to accept care from others. They feel that being weak is a betrayal of their professional identity. Now we arrive at the honest conclusion: you don't have to be a surgeon to learn from Elena. You just have to be a person who cares too much in a world that asks for too much. Real healing is not just about the body. It is about the balance between giving and keeping. It is the ability to look at the darkness and still choose to be the light, despite the cost. You are the doctor of your own life, and your hospital is your mind and your relationships. Stop seeking the perfect save and start respecting the difficult care that builds resilience. The peace you enjoy today is often a gift from people whose office is a war zone of the soul. Don't judge the distance. Respect the psychology that allowed them to stay sane while saving you. Elena is not a hero by accident. She is a woman who decided that the life of another was worth her own peace. Let her story remind you that your care is only as strong as your own healing. I'm Leo, and I hope this note helps you find the rhythm in your own work today. Respect the healers, understand the cost, and never take your health for granted. Until the next note, stay compassionate, stay grounded, and trust the resilience within you. The coat is heavy, but the hands that wear it are strong. Take care of yourself so you can take care of them.